Oh! What do you think? Are they good parts? You think I made a good deal? Yeah? There is one big part of this car project that I basically have been procrastinating for quite some time to start, which is the electrical part of the car. And mostly, it's not that I've been procrastinating, but mostly I didn't start it because on all the challenges that I have ahead of assembling this car, and as you guys know, I'm actually learning while I'm doing. Like I've been around mechanics and tools pretty much my whole life, but electric and electronic in general is something that I basically never touch much. With that being said, I would like to start working on the wiring of this car because it does have a wiring, but the person that sold me this car, when they painted this car, they also painted over the wiring in some of the places, which means that whatever kind of colorful diagram that I can try to find to guide me on the process of understanding the wire harness of this car is basically a bunch of black cables at this point. And again, with that being said, I have a goal today of try to make these things shine, and also maybe try to put the windows up and down. This car does have electric motors on the doors to open the windows. There is one extra challenge though on this whole process. I actually don't have the battery for this car yet. Of course, you guys know that I'm assembling the engine already, which is all the previous videos that I've posted. But I don't have the battery of the car, this car. And well, the only thing that I can do, the only thing that I have is a bunch of motorcycle batteries laying around, 3 in specific. Even though the voltage of motorcycle batteries and car batteries are the same, which is 12 volts, the crank cold amperage of the motorcycle batteries are often way lower than the one from cars, and even more on these old classic cars. But I do have 3 batteries that I can well connect and hopefully get a higher amperage, higher cold crank amperage. Extra challenge on top of the extra challenge on top of the extra challenge is that the 3 batteries that I have are 3 different types. One is a AGL, I think is the gel-based battery. One is a lead battery that I'm charging, is there in the back. And this is a lithium battery. So I'm fairly sure that I should not connect all of them in parallel because they discharge at a different rate. So theoretically, if I'm testing the motor of the doors, I will be demanding more from the batteries. The lights, I'm not that worried because probably only one is already enough to test the motors, but for the windows going up and down, I don't believe that this guy has enough juice on it to make the window go up and down. So I will try to run them in parallel so I could have enough discharge amperage in there. But just to be sure, I got myself one of these as well, because yeah, who knows. So yeah, let's see what will happen. And of course I have my little helper or little leaker, yes, to help me. Yeah, let's make it work. Yeah. Now, the wiring of classic cars is something that tends to be something fairly simple. Basically, everything has a positive and a negative, as you can see there in the back. Somehow this positive and negative connects to the battery. You can actually see this cable here is the harness that is currently going to the lights. Somehow it connects to the battery that currently is represented by my auxiliary light in there. And somewhere there is a switch that turns it on and off, obviously, which basically interrupts the positive or the negative cable. And the interior of my car right now, let me get inside first. Want to see inside? The interior of my car right now has basically some work that was done by the previous owner of this vehicle, and there is some identifications on it. For example, let's try to see what this guy is. Automat alarm. There's also another challenge because the person that did this is Dutch and I don't speak Dutch, so some of these markings will tell me nothing. But somewhere here, among this pile of cables, there will be one cable that turns the light on and off. And in my case, most likely will be this guy here. This theoretically is the switch. In classic cars, of course, the old cars, the high beam is on the foot, as you can see there on the corner here, cannot reach, but that thing is what actually turns on the high beams. So I have two switches, this one and that one there on the bottom. Sniffy, 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 sniffy. That one there on the bottom here. That is not working. Yeah, it's working. That will turn each one of the groups of lights there in the front. So now the goal of today is basically figure out where these cables there go, those colorful cables there go, and where the cables from this connector goes. So I have to trace them from the cluster of the car here, the dash of the car, to the battery and to the lights, figure out which one is which. Connect the battery cables to my little fire hazard battery thingy that I'll still do. Hopefully not put my workshop on fire, nor the car, and try to make the lights shine. That's basically the goal of today. So what do you think? You think we can do it? Huh? You wanna come in, don't you? Come in. And for the door panels will be theoretically easier because the switches are already here. I just gotta figure out what is actually feeding the engine, the little motor, the electric motor that goes in here, sorry. Which I'm assuming is this. But yeah, I have to confirm and figure out. You can actually see an example here. This is one of the little electric engines that run the window up and down. So this one is theoretically even more simple. I can probably just connect the battery here. And then if you invert the polarity of it, of course, the engine goes up and down. The little, keep on saying engine. The electric, well, the thingy here goes up and down. You guys get what I mean. Come on, you wanna go up? Go. Go inside of the car. Now, in your car, if you would open the hood of your car, I hope that you would already have the connectors for the battery and a battery, of course. And I don't have those yet. So what I also want to do today is figure out how the harness would eventually connect to the battery, and I already have those cables routed. Because right now, again, as I mentioned, I want to connect the power source to the lights, to the switches, and these are the cables that are passing to the interior of the car. So some of this have to be routed to here, and then eventually to the lights. The routing to the lights already exists, and I can already see it here. Probably something that I will open completely and redo completely, but not today. That's a problem for future auto. But I would like to at least be capable of placing the battery here, connect it, and switch the cables and turn the lights on and off inside. Also the electric engines, electric motors. So yeah, let's see how this goes now. I will check a little bit the manuals and everything. I luckily have, again, the manuals from Ford of the year of this car. And among them, well, I'm gonna pick them up to show. So these are the two guides that I have available for try to get some guidance on this. How to read a wiring diagram, which is not specific to my car, but theoretically would help me figure out things. And an automotive electricity part 2, and I don't have the part 1, so I have to figure from the second section of it on. This is specific for the year of my car, so theoretically the same technologies available here are the ones that I will see here. And I also have the car manual itself, which does provide me a couple wire diagrams, but as I mentioned, not super useful at this moment, because not only the wiring is not on the car, but also some of it was painted over, and some of it is this kind of rat's nest of broken cables and loose cables. That basically what you want to do with this kind of situation is get rid of this whole thing and do again, just because this is the kind of thing that will short if you just leave as is, and will be a problem once the engine is already here. You have less access to this, so this is the kind of thing that you want to do early on this project. Again, I'm gonna read these guys and let's see what I can take out of it. I found a couple other things that could be useful, but probably not much. Fundamentals of electricity, I guess that either I know what is already inside of this book, or it's something that won't help me figure out whatever I have to figure out there, but it's probably the actual physics of electricity. But I will scan through it as well. I found another version of this. I could compare them both, or at least both of them both to see. I still did not found the part 1, which yes, I don't actually have. I'm surprised that I don't have the part 1 on the pile of manuals that I have. And the car manual in specific also has a section about, maybe you guys can see, lights, instruments, and convenience features. So I'm assuming that this will contain, for example, the lights of the car, the high beams, low beams. But yeah, hopefully, not super sure yet. But yeah, reading time. Okay, based on everything that I saw in the manual so far, what I will be looking for is a way to route a cable from here through the left side of the car, so to the driver's side of the car, which I can already see here, so this is already good, this is already done. To the left side lights, then from the bottom of the car, under the area where the radiator will be eventually, to the right side lights. So now I am wondering to open this guy and figure out which are the ones that are the lights and which are not, or just try to figure out with a multimeter that we have and trying to connect wherever this cable goes in here. You can see a transfer box in here. On the other side, then for me to try to find the cables that are for the light. And I think that this is what I'm gonna do because it's less destructive, even though I do believe that eventually I will do a new harness for everything. At least for now, for me to be sure that the thing is currently working how it is, without anything burning or exploding. I can test as is. And that's what I'm gonna do. Let's see. So now, the basic idea, I found something that I could sacrifice so I could have an easy connector. So I can, with this guy here, test the connections. And there, see which are the ones that finishes, actually, which are the ones that close a circuit to the lights. So then I can theoretically connect the battery using this guy to it and test it out. The door panels use a double connector that I'm hoping that this side and this pin would fit, because I could not find something that I could sacrifice among my parts that would be the exact connector. So let's see if it works or not. Yes, finally. Yeah, we finally found the fuse. Good news. Let's get out of here now. Another thing of working on classic cars, well, I believe cars in general, things don't necessarily have easy access. Well, it's very dark, but let me turn the right again. Things don't have very much easy access. So this is the fuse box. It's very hard to reach. Of course, in the camera with a little bit of zoom, it looks close, but it's very, very behind everything. It's very annoying to reach. Probably that's something that I'll be relocating to make maintenance slightly more convenient in the future. I am though happy to see that a lot of the wiring and some of the vacuum lines are pretty much brand new in here. So I can probably trust this harness at this point. At least this one that I'm pointing out in here, which is the main one, so that's good news for me. This also goes for what goes inside of the steering column here. I can actually see brand new cables, or at least, I mean, newish cables, new looking cables, not crusty old stuff like you see here, for example. So yeah, some good news, some bad news. And I just noticed that my car has a feature that I didn't know it has. There is an actual mechanical vent in the bottom of the car here. You can open there. Now, with the part of the lights resolved, I started checking the door panels now. And I believe this guy is not actually what feeds the little electric motors for the doors, for the windows, because I do get connection all the time in here, and I would expect the engine to be activated only if you press one of the buttons here. The problem is this cable here goes very on the bottom of this panel, and there's no way that I can see where it actually goes to. Like, the more that I try to see it inside in there, I literally can't. So I do not know if this is actually the one that feeds the electric motor that puts the window up and down. And I'm wondering if there's something in there that I can figure out. I'm wondering if this is what is the presentation light for the door. If you open the door, there's a light on the bottom that lights on. I'm thinking that this is that, but I do not know yet. So I'm gonna go reference the manual once again. So I'll be there on my little reading corner again. But this is giving me a little bit of a challenge. I'm fairly sure that this is not what I thought it was. So I have to figure out that whole nesting there. Or I could try to go on the slightly more simple route, which is this engine here, because it is more isolated. The harness is not going through so many steps to reach in here. There's only a cable that comes in here, eventually ends up in the engine. Is something a little bit more isolated. But yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit more because I don't feel comfortable right now just connecting a battery there and just let's see it happen, let's see what happens. I think I might burn something, and then that's not what I want to do, of course, because something there can be connected to whatever thing in here that I still don't know, which means that I actually can burn something that I'm not aware. I want to be as careful as possible, since this is one of the things that I am the least knowledgeable about. Off cameras, I improved a little bit the, well, let's call this testing device for the connectors. And let's see. Again, I read the manuals, I actually identified a couple things, and I want to test them. I already have a charged battery there. And let's see, so this is supposed to be the welcome light. So when you open the door, the lights that eventually will be here, and the lights on the dash should light on. I am missing at least a visible connector for the engine of this door, the motor of this door. And this one should actually be the one from this window. So theoretically we can test this guy and that guy there. That guy there. So let's see. I will position the camera so you guys can see as well. Test number one. Test if this guy here lights the door lights. And then hopefully I won't explode anything or burn anything. I already placed a light bulb where it's supposed to be, underneath there. So let's see. No. No signal. Is it disconnected? Huh? You like it, right? You like it, right? I was looking the other way. Aha! We have lights. Nice. If I close the door, theoretically it should be on. Let's see. Nice. Easy works. We confirm one circuit of the car working. So it is very, very good news. We have lights on the car. It's actually the first milestone of this whole project, because that's the first thing that is working. I mean, I'm working a lot on the engine, but actually that's the first thing that is working as it is supposed to. Nice. Let's see the rear window now. I have to reposition the camera. hopefully also the same. I can connect this guy here. And theoretically, if I invert the polarity, it will go up or down, which I don't know which is the direction yet, so I'm just gonna try one to see. Oh, made a noise. I think it went up, so I'm gonna invert the cable and it works. Nice. I'm gonna see it again. Oh, that's perfect. Didn't sound crunchy or anything, so well, that's very good news. That's the first thing that I'm saying moving on this car. If you don't push it, don't move it yet, so very nice. Okay, now I want to do this on this door. Let's see if I can do that in there. So I have to find this cable, well, wherever it is on this door. Maybe it is on the, maybe it is underneath the dash, because I'm seeing here is probably a double line circuit in here. Because actually, sorry, this is a double line circuit. Maybe this is a single, the other one maybe is a single line circuit. Means that this is a hot line in the ground, and the one in here can be just a hot line, and the ground is in both ends, one on the side of the battery and one on the side of the door. But I will try to find this guy in here. Let's see if I find it. Now I have to run the same basically circuit test from this side on the connectors there, so I can maybe figure out which are the ones that are going to the lights in here. So then I can think about the routing of the cable that theoretically goes to the battery. So I'll be inside of the engine bay here and trying to see what are those guys doing from the equivalent of the opposite side. After a lot of figuring out again, I do believe that this is the main connector that theoretically I have to eventually feed the battery from. I believe that this is the main guy for now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna risk a little bit and I'm gonna actually connect the battery to it. The problem is that this is a 3-point connection. So probably only some of the features theoretically that I could have access from the dash, I would have access from them. Theoretically I'm activating some of them and not the other ones. I'm also not super sure of this. Maybe I'm talking bullshit, and sorry if I am. Again, I'm still learning this whole thing. But I am, among the things that I check, I'm kind of confident that this connector guy here is the main one. So let's see. Okay, the battery is connected on the front. Premature way it is connected. So this is the guy that theoretically, if I pull now, it should have light. There, in front probably you can see some shine on the front there, reflecting something. So let's see. Nope. 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 Okay. Invert the connector to the other position, since there's 3 here. Take one out, the other one. So now it should work. Nope. And now I found that I made a very, very basic mistake. You see this hole here? I thought that this was a cigarette lighter originally, because my XR7, the original car that I had, that I sold, the ignition was here. Without the key, without the ignition turned on, it will never light the lights of the car, of course. Problem is, I don't have the actual key barrel yet. I still have to order this part. I don't have it in hands. I tried to turn it just with a screwdriver inside of there. It did turn on, but as I remember correctly from my XR7, there's also a ground happening in here in the key barrel. So probably this is what is preventing my car from showing some other signs of life right now. But yeah, again, shit happens, lessons learned. I'm already, well, I already know way more about the electrical part of this car, which I'm very happy about. I did manage to see some stuff working, which I'm also happy about. But yeah, no lights until I actually get that guy in there. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys next time, and hopefully with an actual key inside of that hole in there.